Could you just, I think you did it already, maybe it didn't register, just articulate the difference between this impersonal sense of I am versus this personal sense of I am.
Okay, yep. So really the impersonal sense of I am isn't referring to something that is different from the personal consciousness experience. So when I talk about the personal consciousness experience, I'm talking about the experience that each of us have in each moment, which is our life. So right now, it's worthwhile becoming familiar with your personal consciousness experience, bringing attention onto this experience as an experience, which means the totality of that which arises in the field of awareness. And to give you an idea of what's arising in the field of awareness, because I understand that depending on where someone is in their process, and I figure a lot of people have a complete understanding of what I'm talking about when I talk about the personal consciousness experience or field of awareness. But for those that don't, if I hold my hand up and you register it, you're aware of it, you see it, it means it's in the field of awareness. Those things that we're not aware of, like a car outside, some theoretical outside, means it's not inside of our field of awareness. If it was inside of our field of awareness, it would be part of the experience. So basically the personal consciousness experience means everything that we are aware of in this moment, everything that fits into the field of awareness, which really means everything we're aware of is inside of our field of awareness. So to become aware of this as life, because life has put in place this notion that life is much bigger. Life is like the universe is trillions of light years big. And that's a theoretical universe. What about the actual universe that we are aware of? The actual world that we're aware of, meaning this that's right here. So if we don't become aware of this, what happens is we end up with a conceptual idea of a universe or a world, and we miss the actual universal world that is presenting right now. So to say, well, if there is a universe out there, let it be out there. That's a conceptual universe. I'm interested in the universe that is right here. So it brings our attention to this present moment experience, that which I'm calling personal consciousness experience. So Roger's personal consciousness experience, and each of us have our own personal consciousness experience.
So is that the same as that is registered by our sense organs? Is that what you mean?
The sense organs are all part of the momentary personal consciousness experience. So yes, essentially the answer to your question is yes. But it also includes our thoughts and our feelings, the sense of I am, which are don't necessarily fit into the category of the senses. And even when we go to when we're really present with the personal consciousness experience, we can even drop the notion of senses for a while and just say, well, it just is this. So even the notion that what is here has something to do with my eyes and my ears, if we drop that concept, we find that the personal consciousness experience still is here. And in a way, we've just dropped some defining of it. Right? We've become even more present with the fact that, well, I don't know what all of this is. I just know it's an experience. So where do the other people come from? Do they come from, are they a result of the eyes functioning or not? And I'm not necessarily saying that it's not, but I'm saying we don't need to, if we're going to become really present with the present moment experience, dropping the idea that am aware of a visual because of the eyes can actually be limiting at being really present. So we just become really present with the experience without any preconception of how it is. So we don't need to think about it to be present with it, to be aware of it, that which is right here. So whatever happens in each moment is what I'm calling a personal consciousness experience, because it's, now I'm bringing in the notion that it's happening through this body as opposed to through a different body. So whatever I know of life is always what I would call a personal consciousness experience. Now, some personal consciousness experiences, meaning in particular in some moments, it can feel very impersonal, but it's still a personal consciousness experience. So what I mean by it can feel impersonal is if I'm not having certain thoughts, if I'm not registering, if the body isn't a significant part of what is being registered in the personal consciousness experience, it can seem like no one is having the experience, but the experience is there. And it can feel very impersonal, like it has nothing to do with a person. That, to me, is still a personal consciousness experience. If someone came and whacked this body on the head with a very heavy stick, not stick, but chunk of wood, the impersonal experience would, in my estimation, collapse, right? With the collapse of the consciousness of the individual. So if the individual loses consciousness, the experience that we're aware of collapses. It's no longer there because we've lost consciousness. And so even those experiences that feel very impersonal, because certain functions of the brain, certain thoughts, certain sense objects have fallen away, even that is a personal consciousness experience. And so in our personal consciousness experience, like in a meditation is still a personal consciousness experience, although when you're really present with the meditation experience, there's no person in the meditation. Still, I'm calling that a personal consciousness experience that feels very impersonal. And the impersonal sense of I am really is the core, the background of the personal consciousness experience. And if you rest in that impersonal sense of I am, it doesn't have an age, or it doesn't inform us of an age, it doesn't inform us of a gender or preferences. There is just a presence, a sense of existence, but with no personal attributes. And that's what's referred to as the only truth in the manifestation, the only thing that doesn't sort of come and go, is that impersonal sense of I am. You'll notice in the manifestation, so in deep sleep, which to me is the absence of the manifestation, the sense of I am isn't present. But, why then, so someone would say, well, that's not the ultimate truth then. And I said, well, why do we want to know the ultimate truth? It's good enough to know the truth in the manifestation because we're looking for happiness in the manifestation, happiness in daily living. It just turns out that if you come in contact with the truth in the manifestation, that is what the basis of our peace of mind and our happiness is. So good enough to know the truth in the manifestation. Sometimes we get obsessed about knowing some ultimate truth. Why? Because we think it will give us something. But in practice, or at least, in practice, knowing anything outside of the manifestation simply isn't available. So we can get lost wanting to know the absolute, that which is even prior to the manifestation. and really get lost in a search or a wanting something that's not really available.